Well, hello friends. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Rainey, and it's time for my Victober TBR, the most wonderful TBR of the year. If you are unaware, if you have just now discovered BookTube and you don't know what Victober is, it is the wonderful time in October when we in the BookTube community focus most, if not all, of our reading and get really overzealous about reading very long Victorian novels in 31 days. So, yeah, which, hey, hi, I'm included in that. I have way overbooked myself, but I'm happy about it. So the time period for the Victorian era is from 1837 to 1901 in the UK countries. So typically, books written in America during that time are not considered Victorian or from Russia or something like that. It's only in the UK countries. So that is right up my alley. I love it. And I decided to make my little vignette. I mean, some stuff up there is not Victorian, but if you can see my cross stitch that I finished last year, that is Alice in Wonderland, who is a book, Victorian book, a short one. If you're looking for a short read, Alice in Wonderland is the Victorian book for you. So I thought I would feature her in today's TBR. So there are 5 hosts this year for Victober. I think 5. And they all come up with prompts every year, and I have tried to fit different books into each of the prompts, plus some. So let's just get right into it before this gets way long. Okay, the first prompt that I have written down comes from Kate Howe, and her prompt is to read a novel or a work featuring an outsider or stranger. And for this, I have 2 options. And actually, a lot of Victorian novels have outsiders, strangers coming in. But for the ones that I decided to go with, first I'm going to be reading Salem Chapel by Margaret Oliphant. This is, I believe, the 5th in the Chronicles of Carlingford that I have been reading through with my friend Joe Smith, and we are on Salem Chapel. And I don't know anything about this one other than they all kind of are in the same town area. But this one does feature a new minister that comes in to the town of Carlingford and has to kind of deal with the differences in the religion or whatever that he is coming into. So that is the first one. And then the next one that I am hoping to read is a nice short one, and it is Mr. Harrison's Confessions by Confessions. He has more than one confession. By Elizabeth Gaskell. I love Elizabeth Gaskell. I love Cranford by Gaskell, and Mr. Harrison's Confessions, I believe, takes place in Cranford. It's like maybe a different set of people, maybe a different time in Cranford. I'm not really sure, but I know in the mini-series that is called Cranford, they intersperse Mr. Harrison's Confessions within the storyline, which threw me when I watched it because I was not expecting some of the things that happened because they are not in Cranford. But Mr. Harrison's Confessions, I believe, also deals with a outsider coming into Cranford who is Mr. Harrison, who I believe is a doctor. that comes to the town. So I think. I'm honestly not sure. But as you can see, it's really quite short. And in this copy that I have, which I just dropped my notes, so we're going to have to pause in a couple minutes. But the text is really quite large. So I am, hopeful that I can at least finish this one. So yay. So for the next prompt, it comes from Katie from Books and Things, and her prompt is to read a work of new woman fiction. And I was a little unclear what that meant, so I watched Katie's announcement video where she also gives recommendations for this prompt. So I will be linking everybody's announcement videos, all the hosts, down below. If you are unclear what that is all about, I suggest going to watch her video. But in that recommendations video, she sort of recommended this book, and it's one that I've been wanting to reread for a while, so I decided to go with it. And it is Portrait of a Lady by Henry James. Now, the reason I say that Katie kind of recommended it was because Henry James is one of those authors that is kind of controversial if people want to consider him a Victorian. He himself was an American. He was born in New York City, but he lived most of his life and most of his career in the UK. So I am calling him a Victorian because he wrote about wrote within the UK society, and I would assume that is most of what he knew. So I am calling him a Victorian. So the last time I read this book was in high school. As you can tell, it is an old, paperback mass market thing, which I know I read this in high school. I don't really know why I bought a copy of it, because normally in high school you didn't have to do that. But anyway, but I do remember enjoying it, but I really don't remember much of what it's about. This one could actually also double up for the stranger or outsider, because this book follows a woman named Isabel Archer, who is traveling to Europe from America, I believe. A high-spirited American girl named Isabel Archer arrives at the English Manor Garden Court. So kind of mirrors Henry James' experience somewhat. But this follows somebody who is not from England coming to England and, getting into the society there. So that could fit for that one too. But Katie recommended it for new women fiction. So I'm interested to reread this as an adult and see what that part is all about, because I honestly do not remember this at all. Now the next prompt is from Marissa from Blatantly Bookish, and her prompt is to read a new to you author. And sadly, at this point, I am failing that prompt, because the book I have slated for this, I totally forgot that I had read a book by this author before, so technically she is not new to me. I have picked Countess Kate by Charlotte Mary Young, and this is because Kate Howe, who I am friends with, and in her Patreon, she raves about Charlotte Mary Young, and I actually asked Kate for a recommendation for another readathon that I'm going to try to participate in. That is a Christian fiction readathon. And she suggested Charlotte Mary Young. And I was like, oh, good. And then so I wrote it down, and apparently it's short, which is great. And so I slotted it in because I was like, yeah, I don't think I've ever read anything from Charlotte Mary Young. Well, here, come to remember that I just read The Heir of Redcliffe, that is by Charlotte Mary Young. And I just read it like 2 months ago for Kate's Patreon. So, but I'm sort of going to count this because obviously I haven't read a lot from Charlotte Mary Young to remember her. So, I mean, I really liked Heir of Redcliffe, so I highly recommend it. Um, but yeah, apparently I don't know her very well, so I'm gonna count it. But if I can come up with something, like if I have time, basically to find something else that is by an author that I have definitely never read anything by, then I will slot that in its place and we'll just have an extra one because why not? For Petra's challenge, she wants us to read a book in a first person narrative. And this one was tricky for me because I don't know how to discover that necessarily without knowing the books, without having read like a chapter or something out of a book. But I believe also in Petra's announcement video where she gives some recommendations, she recommended Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. And I just happen to have a giant book of his the complete Sherlock Holmes. So this was given to me as a Christmas present by my friend Katie last Christmas, I believe, and I wanted to start reading it, and I think I maybe read a page of the first story in this and then got distracted. So I would love to read, I'm not going to say a story a day in Victober because honestly, it's going to be a miracle if I even get half of the stuff done that I want to read. So I'm going to just say maybe like a story a week. So, that's not very many, but at least it will count for the prompt and I will get some of this book read because it's massive. I'm definitely not going to get through the whole thing, but I'll hopefully at least get a couple of stories read. Oh, and also, I almost forgot that apparently Three Men in a Boat by Jerome K. Jerome is in first person. I have read that and I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure now that I'm thinking about it, that I do remember that it's in first person. And I am planning on buddy reading that with Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia and Dia from Novel Idea. So yeah, I have two slated for that prompt too. Yay! Actually, I'm really excited to reread Three Men in a Boat because I really enjoyed it the first time. But I listened to it, which I probably will listen to it again. But I think I listened to it on too fast of a speed last time, so I think I didn't quite like get it all, like all the comedy and everything. So I'm excited to reread it with friends this time and actually discuss it and hopefully slow down a little bit and hopefully not get too stressed out over all these books I'm reading and trying to get them done. So yeah. And the last prompt is from Roz from Scally Dandling. Is that among the books? I will put it below. But anyway, her prompt is to read a book where class features strongly, and that is a pretty open-ended prompt for a Victorian novel because almost all of them have something to do with class. But one of the premier authors to get a book with class featuring strongly is Dickens. So I am going to attempt to read Little Dorrit. Oh boy, sorry, library copy. Little Dorrit by Charles Dickens. And I am actually going to be buddy reading this with a person that I met online. She also has a YouTube channel, but she's not a booktuber. She's one of my cross-stitch floss tube friends. Alicia from Adventures in Stitching is also a big reader and she likes classics and she wanted to buddy read Little Dorrit with me. So yay! That's very exciting. I'm very excited for crossover. Crossover with reading and cross stitch. Lovely. So I have been very slowly, trying to work my way through all of Charles Dickens' major works, and not doing a great job of it, but I have really been wanting to read Little Dorrit for a long time. This one features a girl who grows up in debtor's prison because her father is in debtor's prison, and uh, I'm assuming that he's her only parent. I so maybe his wife went into debtor's prison with him and died there. I don't really know. I honestly have no clue. So, definitely class is going to feature strongly in this book. So I'm very pumped about this, and I'm pumped to read it with Alicia. Yay! Now, the last two books I have on this list are the group reads for both Victober as a whole and for Kate Howell's Patreon, which I am a part of. So, the group read for Victober is The Way We Live Now by Anthony Trollope. And I have actually started this already. I haven't gotten too far, but I have started the audiobook for it because I have 9 books on my TBR, and many of them are quite lengthy. So I decided I just better start. I believe that they are having a Discord discussion, which I may or may not participate in. I'm not like really great at Discord or Goodreads, really, any kind of discussion groups. I'm not that great at. So I may just read this book and discuss it weekly on my videos. I don't know. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. And then the last book is for Kate Howell's Patreon, and that is going to be Man and Wife by Wilkie Collins. I know nothing about this book. I didn't look it up. I don't know what it's about. I just know that I like Wilkie Collins. I've read a couple of things by him, and I really enjoy the things I've read, so I'm excited about it. And I believe Kate has read this one before, because I think it was Kate that recommended it and, has really talked it up, I think. So I'm excited to read it because I like Wilkie Collins, but I have nothing to tell you about what it's about. So, oh well. So I already said how I have already started reading The Way We Live Now, but I also have had a kind of a precursor to Victober movie watching party with my friend Stephanie from Miss Richards Reads, and we have been watching the BBC miniseries of Wives and Daughters together over this last week. There are 4 episodes, so we have watched one a day, starting Monday. So tonight is our last night, and we are going to cry our eyeballs out, I am sure, over a certain thing that is going to happen that is, we all know is, well, those of us who have read the book know that's coming, but I'm not emotionally ready to watch it on the screen. So anyway, we are both really, really enjoying this. I can't believe it's taken me this long to watch this. I actually bought this DVD set last year, and then it just sat on my shelves. I am not great at movie watching. I am a big fan of watching YouTube, so that's like my go-to. So I'll buy DVDs and just kind of let them sit and then wonder, like, why did I even buy this? But I am super, super glad that I bought this and finally watched it with Stephanie. And I cannot wait for tonight, but I'm also not emotionally ready. There you go, friends. That is my Victober, or we'll call it a pile of possibilities. I'm going to attempt to read all 9 of those books, but I don't know. We'll see. I also cannot commit to doing vlogs, but I'm going to try to do weekly updates on what I've been reading. So we will all find out together how well I do this month. So, also, I forgot to mention that I am planning, see Alice, we already talked about Alice. She has a companion that has been in the works for 2 years, 2 Victobers now. And I think this is going to be her 3rd Victober. I have a Jane Eyre cross stitch that is going to go, I'm going to hang it beside Alice, and she is a little bit over 50% done, and I would like to get her done by the end of the year. So I have decided that I'm going to work on her monogamously. We call it in the floss tube world because we all have like way more than one project going at one time. But I am going to, for the month of October, only work on Jane Eyre. So, and see how far we get. So I hopefully will put some progress on that into my videos as well. We'll see. So, all right, friends, this video has been long enough. I need to get back to work. I was on a break, but now I got to go back to work. And I will talk to you in October. The most wonderful time of the year. All right, friends, happy last week of September. Bye.